Hello, barbecue enthusiasts! Welcome to our first episode of In the Den with Bear Zapper Barbecue. Just like our videos, we're going to cover everything from grilling to smoking and all that fun stuff in between. I'm your host, Justin. Today we have our very first episode lined up for you. So for the past 5 or 6 months, we've really had a blast. I guess it's 7 months now. We've had a blast recording videos for our YouTube channel, our shorts, our Instagram posts, TikTok posts, whatever it is. We've just had a blast recording those videos, sharing our recipes, creating awesome memories for my family and hopefully for yours as well. We've really made some awesome recipes, such as our ultimate overnight brisket, the first brisket I've ever done, and it was so good. Our epic Brunswick stew, using leftover meat from various meals, amazing. And your responses to each and every one of those has been incredible. So I thought, why not bring that same sizzle to your ears with this podcast? So thanks for joining me on this new journey. Today, I want to accomplish just a few things on our very first podcast. One, I want to introduce myself. I also want to talk with you through kind of what I do, what my vision for this podcast and my future videos will look like. And each week, I really would just want to dive into one of the recipes from the past week, dissect it, talk about the cooking procedure, how to choose the right meats, vegetables, my thought process around it. We'll cover different ways to cook and really the best ways to make you successful with each family meal. In the future, I hope to have special guests. Hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions that you all may send in, because ultimately, I really want to make this about us as a barbecue community, sharing our love, our recipes, right? Maybe some old family recipes. I don't want to make it just about me. So, for starters, I'm Justin. I live in Connecticut. I have 2 young boys, and I've been married for 12 and a half years. This is not my full-time job. Cooking is not my job, but I just love it. I work in technology. I love cooking and barbecuing and smoking and grilling. I love eating. But I really love how technology can make this whole process and all of this come together. Growing up, my parents owned and still own a restaurant. I started as a dishwasher, watching my dad and the other chefs create these awesome masterpieces on the flat top, on the grill, in the oven, in the stove, or on top of the stove rather. In college, I graduated from dishwashing to cooking. And I started helping out on the chef side of the kitchen. And that's where I fell in love. No, not with my wife, but with cooking. I went on to leave the restaurant business and started in financial services because I live in Connecticut, and apparently that's what we do here. My decision to leave the restaurant was probably applauded, as I likely ate more food than what we sold. Pretty sure those years were net negative for my parents, but I was a growing boy. I was probably growing out, not up, but that's okay. In 2015, I bought my first Big Green Egg. I had never cooked on a Kamado-style grill before, but I really wanted a grill that would be different than anything I had cooked on before. I was used to cooking on propane grills, and honestly, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I couldn't figure out how to regulate the temperature, how to light the charcoal correctly, how to even stack up the charcoal. And many times I wouldn't let the charcoal burn long enough to not give off that kind of charcoaly taste. I immediately regretted my decision. But I started watching more and more YouTube videos and realizing, well, I was doing just about everything wrong. But I wanted to take a step back and try to perfect my craft. It didn't really work. In the meantime, I had purchased a Weber propane grill and really started grilling more on that. My egg was feeling lonely, and again, I was regretting the decision to spend the money on the egg when the propane grill was just way easier. I always wanted to go back and give it another shot, but honestly, I was too intimidated. Years later, during a pretty vicious storm that we had up here in Connecticut, I ran out of propane. Total noob move. And we were out of power, so I couldn't use the stove inside. So I had basically one option. Light up the big green egg again and give it another shot. I watched videos on how to properly light it, how to regulate temperature. I even looked up easy meals to cook on it, and I failed miserably. But I had fun failing, and it drove me to really want to learn more about what the egg can do, how to best cook on it, and how to be successful with it. I started with pizza because I didn't really have to regulate the temperature all that much. I could get it up super high and not really have to worry about keeping it at a steady temperature like smoking at 250. And my first pizza was an absolute disaster. Half of it was hanging off of the pizza stone as I tried to shimmy it off of my peel. But the part that stayed on the pizza stone looked pretty good. I was determined that my next pizza would be flawless. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've got 2 young boys and a wife, and we don't ever agree on pizza toppings. So normally when I make pizza, I make 3 of them. One for me, which usually has some sort of meat or funkiness to it. Veggie for my wife, and cheese for the boys. These were my chances to make that next pizza flawless. And they came out pretty good. With the help of my neighbors over the years, we've perfected a pizza dough. So, making my first pizza with that new and improved, not store-bought pizza dough, I was hooked. I was hooked on the whole process. I was hooked on making the dough. I was hooked on watching it rise and letting it rise and seeing just how my creation is alive and bubbling, and how I can use that to make something that's really, really good that my family likes to eat. I remember thinking to myself, I can do this. I don't suck that bad. That might be a bit of a stretch. That's a pizza pun for all you. But they came out pretty good. Now, fast forward to May of 2023. This year, Bear Zapper Barbecue was born. I have learned a lot over the last few years of grilling, smoking, barbecuing, and then the many, many years before that in my parents' restaurant. I've fallen in love with creating beautiful meals that my entire family can enjoy. Because let's be honest, we all know how hard it is cooking for picky young eaters. But I've had a blast doing it. And thanks to your support, right? Your help, your ideas, I'm hoping we can continue this for many, many years to come. So from the bottom of my heart, thanks for being on this ride with me, right? Thanks for your inspiration. Thanks for all the support and all the fun comments and all the likes. Because it just drives me to do more and be better. So thank you. Okay, so it's Friday, December 22nd. Christmas is only a few days away. Christmas is my favorite holiday. I love the time between Christmas and New Year's. I love celebrating Christmas. I love the Christmas meal. I love all that leading up to New Year's and the thought of starting fresh each and every year. I love this time of year. But we all know how stressful this time of year can be. If you're cooking for a large party, right, or your family for Christmas, it might be a pain. It might be hard. And I get that. So I just want to offer some tidbits, right? 5 easy tips to remember, whether it's just for the season or for the future. Just keep these 5 fairly simple things in mind. Hopefully that we can help you get through this season with a little less stress and a lot more happiness. So tip number 1, if you're cooking a turkey or a chicken or a rib roast or even a ham or really any meat, whether you're cooking it inside or outside, get yourself a good cooking thermometer. Whether it's an InstaRead thermometer or one that you can stick in the meat and leave it in there, a good thermometer can keep your meal being awesome. It can save you from disaster. I have a buddy that I work with, just a quick story, a buddy that I work with. He bought a cheap thermometer at like a local store down in Texas. And he made a brisket for a large family gathering. And the thermometer was not reading right. And he overcooked that thing by many, many degrees. Cooking it so much that it was like a puck. It was so dry. He was devastated. I mean, like literally ruined the party meal. Getting yourself a good thermometer can save your meal from disaster. I love meter probes. If you haven't seen a meter yet, I would highly recommend it. You can just Google meter. It's MEATER. I'm not an affiliate. They're not paying me to say this, but their probes are fantastic. They just came out with their new Meter 2 Plus. It's great. It's got better battery life. It's got longer and larger range. So that basically anywhere in your house, you can still see the temperature of what you're cooking, as well as the ambient temperature within your cooking space. I've used the original meter for probably a year or so, and I absolutely love it. I've made some incredible steaks and chicken and roasts using it. It gives you resting times. It's just such an awesome piece of technology. Highly recommended. You can absolutely use whatever temperature probe or thermometer you want, but I highly recommend meter. Tip number 2, don't be afraid to season your meat. Whether you're cooking inside or outside, make sure you are preparing your meat in a way that's setting you up for success. Now, if you've seen my videos, you know that I absolutely love Lane's barbecue seasoning. It's good, clean seasoning that can take your meal from a 7 to a 10. Again, you can absolutely amplify the awesomeness of your meal without even trying hard, simply by using good seasoning. If you are cooking beef this holiday season, I highly recommend Lane's barbecue brisket seasoning or their Cubano seasoning. If you're cooking poultry, their signature seasoning and their lemon pepper seasoning are absolutely incredible. I use their seasoning on just about all of my meals and somehow am always blown away by the flavor profile of each. Again, they're not paying me to say this. I am not an affiliate. I'm just a huge fan of their products. I started using Lane's barbecue seasoning maybe 4 years ago for Thanksgiving dinner. I was looking for a brine for my turkey and wanted something that wasn't overly salty or overpowering or anything like that. And Lane's Barbecue did not disappoint. They included some awesome sample packets with my first order and with every order of their signature seasoning, and ended up using that and loving it so much that I've since purchased it many times over. Even the non-turkey lovers in my house asked for seconds. The turkey was just so good. I don't love turkey, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I love this. Lane's Barbecue is owned by the Lane family down in Bethlehem, Georgia, and you, along with like amazing products, you could not ask for a nicer family or a group of folks that work there. Every single order comes with a handwritten thank you note. It's an incredible touch that not many businesses offer nowadays. Tip number 3, remember to plan out your meal. One thing that I love that Aaron Franklin does is he will script out and plan his entire meal with times, with temperatures, with everything in between, so that he's not scrambling in the end if something's not ready. The last thing you want on a large meal or a meal that you're cooking for a large amount of folks is things to be ready at different times. You want to be able to plan out when to put things into the oven, when to put things on the grill, when to, even start brining something, right? You want to be able to plan that all out so that everything comes out right around the same time and you're not waiting for your meat to finish and your veggies are getting cold and soggy. Nobody likes that. If you plan out your meal and you script it out, it will allow you, I guess, some extra time to be with family and friends and less time secluded in the kitchen over a stove or outside at the grill. Unless, of course, that's what you're after. When I plan my meals, I normally do so starting with what will take the longest, and in most cases, that's the meat, right? So if you're brining a turkey, that whole process could take days, depending on if it's a fresh turkey or if it's frozen. But having it de-thaw if it's frozen, and then brining takes days. And then after brining, you want to rinse it and let it air dry in your refrigerator for at least 24 hours. Helps to get the skin crispy and allows it to cook more evenly because it's dried out. So don't cheat yourself on any flavors. Don't cheat yourself on a good meal. Don't have soggy, nasty potatoes or veggies. Don't try to rush through and start the process or start the cooking process early. Instead, take your time. What I should have said was don't rush through. You want to start the process early so that you can take your time and blow the minds of your guests when they're sitting down for dinner. Everything will come out together. Everything will be fresh and will be exactly as you planned it. If you couldn't tell, I'm doing this with no edits because I want you all to get the real me. So you're going to get the errors just like you see in my videos. Tip number 4, buy the best quality meat that you can for your budget. Don't look for things that are way out of price range just to impress. You can always take a cut of meat that, may not be Wagyu and make it into something incredible. I use grilling and barbecuing and cooking and smoking as a means of working through feelings of anxiety at times, right? When I'm cooking or when I'm out at the Weber or at the Big Green Egg or out on my Blackstone, That's my happy place, or that's one of my happy places, right? A lot of people cook out of necessity, which is fine. But for me, I use it as a way to de-stress. So don't let the thought of buying inexpensive cuts of meat stress you out or ruin your dinner. Enjoy the dinner. Enjoy the process. And I promise you everyone else will as well. When it comes time to cooking your meat, don't forget to take it off a few degrees early so that when it rests, it reaches your desired temperature. So what does that mean? That means if you're looking to get your prime rib roast up to 140 degrees internal, you want to take it off around 130 and let it sit for 10 or so minutes. That resting time allows the juices to resettle back into the meat and also allows the meat to finish cooking outside of your cooking source. Again, find the meat that's in your budget and make incredible meals with that. Take these tips and tricks for what they are. And tip number 5, when you're making a meal for a larger audience or for like a holiday or anything like that, don't forget to include veggies. Vegetables can be just as much the center of attention as an amazing prime rib. Season your vegetables and don't overcook them. My favorite way to enjoy vegetables is to cook them to the point where they're just soft on the outside, where you can stick a fork in, but just firm enough and crisp enough inside that they give a little crunch when you bite them. It also allows you, talk about planning, right? Going back to tip number 3, it also allows you to, if you remove the veggies at that point and you have them in a bowl preparing to be served, it allows the veggies to finish cooking when they're resting, just like your meat did. Who doesn't love a good carrot that's soft and seasoned awesome on the outside and yet crisp and crunchy on the in? It's so freaking good. Folks, those are just some of my, top 5 tips for an epically awesome holiday meal, or really any meal. Don't forget to plan though. Don't forget number 3. Plan out your meal. Again, so you can spend more time with your family and friends and less time in the kitchen. Because after all, that's what this time of year is all about. The last segment of today's podcast, I want to take a few moments just to go back to two of my videos, but one of my videos, they're very similar from last week. So I made 2 videos that featured fig and brie. One was fig, brie, and apple burger on top of a burger. That was awesome. That was uploaded, I think, on December 19th. And one was fig, brie, pear, and prosciutto on a flatbread. I think that was a few days before that, maybe December 15th or so. The fig and brie and any crisp fruit, like an apple or a pear, pair really nicely together. And I was truly blown away by both of these recipes because it was just such a crisp, clean taste. And then the creaminess of the brie was just threw it over the top. It was awesome. I truly feel like you can take similar ingredients, right? I swapped out prosciutto and pear and swapped in apple for my burger, right? But you have a base for a recipe and you can swap out and mix and match various things to make it something completely different, but still have that same awesome profile and flavor. That's what I love about doing this so much. So if you haven't watched those videos, I highly recommend going back, watching those videos, and I'd love to know what recipes you can come up with some of these ingredients, right? So like for me, off the top of my head, thinking about these ingredients, making a grilled cheese with some of these items would be awesome. Or throw them on top of an egg sandwich. right? Do like a hard roll or a bagel with an egg, with brie and prosciutto, and maybe some onions and some hot honey on top. You can take the basis of each recipe that I create or each recipe that you see, and you could flip it completely on its head, and it'll be mind-blowing. Go back, watch those videos, right? Check them out. Let me know what your favorites are. Subscribe to my channel so that you have more videos coming your way, right? And just have fun with it. Like, that's what this is all about. Life is far too short to be worrying about silly things. That's why I use this to have fun. I just wanted to thank you all for joining me today, and those that have joined me since May on my YouTube and Instagram and TikTok pages. I'm truly having a blast making meals with you all. I hope my videos are helpful. I hope that they give you new ideas and new ways of looking at food and cooking food and making kind of funky recipes that will, make your parents scratch their heads or your family scratch their heads. But then when they try it, they're like, what is this? This is awesome. Like my peanut butter and jelly wings. So good. I hope you can take some time to go back and look at those recipes that I made. I hope that you can recreate those recipes for yourself. If you are recreating those recipes, let me know how they come out. You can absolutely message me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, or you can send me an email. My email address is justin@bearzapperbarbecue.com. That's bearzapperbbq.com. bearzapperbbq.com is also my website, where you can have, you'll get access to my library of videos as well as my podcasts as we create more and more. But I'd love to just know your thoughts on my recipes, thoughts on my videos, what I can do better. I'm just, like I said, I'm just having fun with this, and I would love to know what I could do better or your favorite recipes. Send those along. I'll give you credit, and I'll do the recipes on video. It'll be fun. Lastly, I really hope that during this holiday season, you can take some time away to recharge, to refuel, maybe reconnect with your family or reconnect with yourselves. If you get a chance, head on over, look at my YouTube channel, Bear Zapper Barbecue. It's youtube.com/@BearZapperBBQ. Follow along as we continue this crazy, crazy journey to help you master barbecue, help me master barbecue. We're going to help each other master barbecue, I guess. Folks, that's all the time we have today. Thanks again for listening to In the Den with Bear Zapper Barbecue. I truly appreciate your support, and it would mean the world to me if you told a few friends about this. I hope you have an amazing holiday season. I hope you get to relax, to rest a bit. And here's to your next awesome barbecue session. Cheers.